Thanks for joining us. A listener request, Jared. Ben reached out. Toy Soldiers, 1991. But before we get to that, Jared, what have you been watching? You've been on school holidays. So
I've got a long
there's
list,
a lengthy
mate.
list. So let's keep it kind of, pick out the highlights.
I'll whip through it. Well, they're all highlights, Adam. I'll whip through a couple.
No, they're not.
They are all highlights. So I got into a bit of comedy to start with. I watched Chips and then I watched Incoming, which you'd mentioned to me.
Yes.
Thought it was pretty average, but you were spot on, Bobby.
Bobby
Cannavale. It was the
Cannavale.
funniest
He's tearing
thing.
it up.
Yeah, I'm on my way out. Then he's like, you guys want to see some science?
And he's on fire at one point.
Yeah. I definitely got a few laughs out of him. On the back of that, I actually watched Good Boys and Booksmart because I heard they were both very good, sort of recent coming of age. And I liked both of them quite a bit, actually. They were both very cool. Then getting into the more action horror sort of tinge things, I watched Tragedy Girls. It was written and directed by the same guy that did It's a Wonderful Knife.
Okay.
And it's these pair of girls that are sort of concocting a scheme to be able to go on to Instagram or whatever and be like the true crime, the Tragedy Girls Instagram thing. It was really cool. I liked it. It was quite good. I'd heard about it a few times, but I hadn't got onto it. But yeah, I watched it. Bit of Dolph Lundgren, Red Scorpion.
Oh, how was that? A Joseph Zito
joint. Yeah, a Joseph Zito joint. And I mean, Adam, colour me surprised when I saw Brian James putting on an accent.
Oh, holy shit! What was this one?
I think he was South African.
South African. Fuck off.
I couldn't stop laughing. I think I preferred Cajun Brian.
I prefer
obviously Cockney Brian is still number one.
I prefer American Brian, which is what he was in Blade Runner. The rest of them, fuck, mate.
Yeah, I don't know what he was up to.
Do you think he just puts his hand up and says, "Yeah, I can do an accent."
I can play anything. I think he had the resume. He was the type of guy that'd go into a. You know how they talk about people going into an audition. Can you ride a horse?
Yeah,
I can ride
I
a horse.
can.
And then they find out they can't ride a horse and nearly fucking kill themselves trying to.
Yeah.
I think Brian was like that with accents.
Yeah, exactly.
You do an Italian Brian. Yeah, I can do that. I've done
Brian
that
was also a recipient of the 1980s where he'd fucking freshen your drink, governor, and everyone would go, "Yeah, that's fucking close enough."
Yeah. But yeah, that was great to see him do that. The movie's okay. It's is what it is.
Whatever.
I watched the American Ninja series.
Dudikoff. He only goes 1, 2, 3, does he?
No, he goes 1, 2, 4.
Okay, so he misses out on 3.
Yes, he misses out on 3. Stevie James stuck around for 3, though.
Who picks up the torch for 3?
His name is David Bradley.
David Bradley.
He had a short career, and he's not great. Yeah, I thought 1 and 2 were a bit of fun. They're both pretty cool. Obviously, I like Steve James. Number 2, I think it is. They really let Steve James off. He's in fight scenes and he's just whipping out lines left and right.
Yeah, that's what you need. Though. That's what you need to lean into.
Yeah, and Dudikoff's all right. I thought the first one was a bit of fun. I actually
American Ninja's canon pictures, aren't they?
Canon, yeah. Yeah, so 3 is where it sort of goes off the boil, and 4 and 5 are both very ordinary too.
Does David Bradley return in 5?
He does. And then I think he went to make a picture called American Samurai.
Fucking hell. So David, diversify, thanks.
David was like Mark Morrison, Return of the Mac. Who's the Mac?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the Mac?
Where's the Mac? The Mac's finished. That sort of shit. Okay, yeah.
So after that, I got onto the Blood Fist series. Don the Dragon Wilson.
Although you said we should dig into Don the Dragon somewhere on the line.
Don the Dragon is one of these guys who I think is, as I've said before, properly rated. He was in a tier that he should have been.
Right.
He's reasonable performer in the
skills,
sort of fights
doesn't he?
And things like that. Yeah. So,
what about as a thespian?
Bloodfist really tests him because he's a different character in every movie.
Especially when you do it back to back to back, you don't really know what the fuck you're doing.
Exactly. So, no, he's okay. He can handle that sort of stuff, but he's properly rated.
Yeah.
I don't think acting was his strength, but he can do He can do enough to make an entertaining movie. So yeah, the series was kind of fun. Like they're reasonable movies. They're whipped out pretty cheap, but they're sort of run of the mill action scenarios. Like the fucking third one's got him in prison. One of them's like when they're in kind of a military bunker and they've got to get 2 keys to fucking launch the bloody missiles or whatever, and he's got one of them. And they just go through these scenarios. There's another one that's like a crime.
So
he
simple,
just gets caught up in a crime.
Yet effective.
Yeah, simple yet effective, and most of them are all right. Towards the back end, there's a couple that are a bit ordinary, but sort of. I'm talking 7 and 8. There's 8 of them, and I watched all of them.
Oh, Jared.
What? What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
I mean, it's quality. It's quality. Are you telling me I might be the only person on the planet that's watched the 8 Bloodfist movies this year?
I don't think the fucking streams are ticking over on those ones. Especially 7 and 8.
I ticked them. They were ticking over last week.
That fucking Tubi thought fucking they were going to explode.
They'll be featured next week. Both this series. It's hot.
Their whole fucking app was going to shut down.
It's hot right now. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was good stuff. I actually watched a couple of decent video game related things. I watched one called Here Comes a New Challenger, which was a doco on Street Fighter 2.
Oh, yeah?
It was pretty fucking good. And then I started watching the series on Amazon about the Madden games.
Oh, okay.
It's in the game, and it's all about the John Madden series, and it kind of starts with the development of the new game and then starts going back in time to when they first developed them.
Cool.
Fucking cool stories. Really cool. And it's talking to the major players. And yeah, stuff that you didn't really know. Like I something like Street Fighter, I knew some of the stuff that was coming out in that. Yeah. Even then, I learned a lot. But Madden was one where I was like,
well, they were fringe games for us. We didn't play as much of them as NBA, for instance.
Yeah. Although the more I watched the doco, we were actually in reasonably early.
Chili Dog.
I think that was 95, 96. I think the first one was in 90.
I love that shit.
Yeah. There's some funny stuff, though, like Madden. The very first one was not on consoles. The guy that was running PC, EA was on PC. He was a PC guy. And there was another guy in the team that's like, we've got to do cartridges. We've got to do consoles. Yeah. So Madden takes the first one home to his son. He goes, have a go at this. And his son just fucking said, this is shit. He said to his dad, this is bullshit. They'd done all this work to get it right, but it just played like shit. So, yeah, I recommend it highly. I think that the stuff around the modern era, it's not as interesting unless it ties into the old stuff.
Yes.
When they go into the old stuff and speak to those people, and that was great. That was really good, actually. So I've still got a series to go on that one. So, yeah. The Shadow Strays, Netflix actioner by, I always forget his name, Tino, the guy that directed The Night Comes For Us.
Oh, yes.
Pretty cool. Same sort of thing. Like
very violent.
Very visceral, probably not to the level of The Night Comes For Us, but there was a lot of full on. I mean, the last fight, I needed a recovery after watching it, not because of the brutality. It had a little bit of that, but just it goes on forever, and it's like fucking fever pitch the whole time. So yeah, I would check that one out. It was pretty good. Carry On.
Oh yes,
Netflix.
I watched that too.
Yep.
I fucking loved it. I thought it went really well.
Yeah, not bad. I thought, it's pretty strong. It's pretty strong. Yeah. I thought
it bails a little near the end. It starts to lose a bit of its credibility.
There's a stretch between kind of some of the interactions between Taron Egerton and Jason Bateman and the finale where it tapers off a bit, but overall pretty strong.
Bateman, fucking, I keep forgetting that I always sort of connect him with comedy.
Yeah.
But then I look at something like, I'm like The Gift or Ozark.
Yep.
Or The The Outsider.
Yep.
He's fucking awesome in this.
He is. He's
really, really good in Carry On.
Very good. Pushing on. Still got a few to get to. I watched Woman of the Hour.
I hear that's okay.
It's all right. Yeah, it's not bad. It's hard to watch in parts because it's based on real shit.
Yeah.
And it's not too bad. I didn't mind it.
I mean, if anyone's actually seen that fucking footage, that guy is the creepiest motherfucker on earth.
Fucking oath.
I mean, why anybody would have thought, why anybody was fucking charmed by that creepy cunt, I don't know.
Yeah, even the answers are creepy. But I mean, if she could have seen, I mean, she poked her head around the corner, she looks straight at him and go, oh fuck.
God,
no,
not
sorry.
him. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm superficial.
Yeah.
I watched On the Line, which I believe
Mel.
you've also watched. Mel.
Yeah.
I think it might be time to boycott Mel. That was fucking awful.
Mel.
Awful.
I know that, it's not you didn't write the thing, but shit. Like, I know your star has fallen, Mel, but you can do better than this.
Yeah, I was not.
Surely.
I was not pleased with it. Not very pleased.
The ending is just fucking lunacy.
Yeah,
like,
it's shocking.
That anyone thought the first twist was okay, but then
the
double twist, Jared.
But also, you saw at least one of them coming, didn't you?
I think it's funny because my wife and I had a conversation early on.
Did it involve divorce papers after making her watch that?
No. She actually made me watch it.
Fucking hell.
About halfway through, I was kind of like, it needs to be more contained.
Yeah.
I said, there's no suspense because it would be better if he was kind of hijacked to the
It couldn't have been because the performance and the writing of the fella on the phone was...
Yeah, it was piss poor.
Dreadful.
But I mean, my thinking is the idea of like having him having to talk to this bloke because he's fucking stuck to his chair with a bomb up his ass or something might have been more palatable. But obviously there's a reason for it. And just when you get to that, you're just like... What the fuck? Like, what were we thinking? Yeah, and the guy on the phone, talk about no menace. Like, there's just no menace to it.
And Mel was just playing an old asshole. And I think it was just Mel just being himself at the moment.
Yeah.
Because I was just watching it going, I understand flawed characters, but there's got to be something we like.
Yeah.
And there's nothing here. Absolutely nothing.
Oh, God. And he is sleepwalking, isn't he?
Yeah. Shocking.
Jesus Christ.
Pushing on, a little more doco territory. I watched the one on the Ripper, the Netflix one that you were pretty down on, the British.
Yes.
It was okay because that was one of the ones that I hadn't sort of followed up on in a while, so it was kind of like refreshing information and whatever.
Plus, it was in a period of time where you can kind of see how hard it would have been to connect the dots.
Yes. And I think it falls somewhere in the middle. They were very critical of the police. And yes, the police made some errors. But it's also not going to be easy. I mean, they pointed out how many fucking tips were coming in. Like,
there's actually a good 8-part dramatisation series that was on Stan about it. I can't quite remember what it was called. But there is a point in it that they touch on briefly in the doco. But there's a point where they extrapolate a little bit where they brought information to the fucking head of things saying the tape that we got is false.
Yeah.
And he fucking told them to jam it, basically.
Well, they did that. They did that in the doco. They had that one guy that said...
That's the shit where the police need to... Yeah.
That's right. I can't for the life of me.
Because the way they explained it, it's clear that one of the murders is missing.
Yeah. I can't for the life of me understand how they determined that was... And when the guy brought that up to him, if they're good policemen, surely they look at it. And then the other galling bit was old mate that was on the beat, I believe. And he talks about how he interviewed the killer.
Yes.
And he said, look, there's not a whole lot there, but he's a dead ringer for the fucking fit.
Yeah.
So maybe we should look at it. And the boss fucking yelled him out of the office. If anyone tells me anything more about a fucking photo fit, jam it up your ass or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the part where
there was some errors that you can see.
There was some big errors. But also, as they pointed out, they had so many fucking paper tips. They had so many notes on the tips that they fucking had to reinforce the floor of the room that they were in because they were told the fucking building was going to collapse.
Yeah.
Like, sorting through that in those days and following up on them all, of course it wasn't going to be easy, but yeah, it's I think it falls somewhere in the middle. I think the way that they kind of portrayed the police as a whole was more directed at a handful of people.
Yeah.
And so the people that busted their tail probably trying to get this done and maybe weren't able to make the breakthroughs that they needed
are sort of
probably
caught
still
up in
some
the
sort of-
whole sort of. They're caught up in the bad mouthing part of it across the board.
But yeah, it was all right. I watched the one on Jerry Springer.
No, yeah, I want to watch that, but you told me she was a bit
It's okay.
underwhelming.
It's just they pick a few things. They pick a few bits and pieces to follow up on, like a few episodes. It's shorter. It's basically they could have just released a 90-minute doco because it's 2 45-minute episodes.
Oh, okay.
So it's shorter, which is probably a step in the right
thankfully.
direction, but it's not sort of full of. They talk to the producers of the show, and they touch on a few little bits about how they trumped up and got people fired up to do things. They talk about the case, the episode that resulted in a murder.
Yeah,
but everything else just kind of zooms past.
Right, I see.
So it was okay.
Okay.
My favourite doco that I was watched actually, it was Chiefsaholic.
Oh yeah, you talked about this. I didn't know anything about it.
I'd somehow missed the story.
Well, it's probably not really. Maybe some, I mean, it doesn't really hit here in Australia.
No, not from that perspective. But I would have seen it,
just scrolling
through sports Twitter, and I don't follow American football, but oftentimes you just cross over a story because I'm looking up NBA stuff and you find things on sites. First and foremost, the guy is an asshole.
This was the guy who was doing
the guy who's doing it. Yeah, they spend a bit of time with him. So essentially, it's a fan of a sports team who got sort of reasonably decent following on Twitter, and then it comes out that he's involved in some shit that he shouldn't have been. So they spend some time with him, and I'm sorry, but he's an asshole. I know he's had a tough upbringing and whatnot, but just a classic dickhead sports fan. Like there's some of the videos that he's posting. It's just calling everyone. These bitches, this and that, we're going to fucking come there. It's just like, mate, you're not on the field. Like, enjoy it, but you're carrying on like an asshole. And I think it's proven through the movie that he is an asshole. And all these things he's saying, I do all this for my family and shit like that. Well, you don't, because your family's fucking in some hell now while you're in prison and fucking all this sort of stuff. And he's laying bets, but then it's quite clear that he's doing that with not his money. It all comes out, but it's like, you look at it and you're like, why are you even worried about this, mate? Because it's not your money, and you're in a situation where it's probably going to be fucking taken away from you. But yeah, it's kind of a fascinating look because it looks at a few of those sports fans, and then it's some of them that are still supporting him just because, he's part of Chiefs King. There's one woman that is unhealthily obsessed with him to the point where it's like, you're overlooking severe criminal activity just because this guy jumps on Twitter and acts like an asshole about a sports team that you support. Like, what's the point where we say, I love my team, but this isn't okay? And there's one lady in there that's very sensible about it and comes across with that approach, despite obviously being a very big fan of the team. A few other people that are a bit kind of in the middle. Mostly they show themselves to be all right, but there's a few with it where you just find that obsession to be a little bit unhealthy to the point where it colours their opinion of an obviously bad dude. But one of the most intriguing parts is he develops a relationship with his bail bondsman, which turns into some sort of follow-up and here and there. And that guy is kind of compelling to watch. You got to watch him do his job a little bit. And I liked it because it sort of touches on, me and you have had a lot of conversations about, we love sports, but there's a point where, I hit a point a few years ago where more than a few years ago now, it was pretty early on in the piece, where I stopped just looking at a guy wearing my team's colours and automatically thought this guy's great.
Yeah.
Because we had a few situations where people who, have previously done some shit ended up on footy teams that we liked, and we're like, it's going to be really hard to look at that guy and go team. Like, so it's for someone like me who's kind of in the middle, it was interesting to see. Other than that, I've got a couple more, but I'll whip through them quickly.
What are they?
Invitation to a Murder, which was a British kind of Agatha Christie one, led by Misha Barton, banging on a British accent. Oh. Although I believe she was born in Britain.
How was
Probably
it?
should have sounded a bit better. It was pretty bad.
Okay.
Not great at all. I watched High Spirits.
Oh, the one with Gutenberg.
Yeah. Peter O'Toole, fucking fantastic for a few minutes there, but everything else is a bit average.
Yeah.
A Civil War was really cool.
Oh, yes, that's the one with Kirsten Dunst.
Yep. I like that quite a bit. And the last one is I went to the cinemas to catch Nosferatu.
Oh, yeah, what was that like?
I really liked it.
Okay.
Obviously, seen the old ones, it's very different. It's it follows the familiar pattern, but goes for a different approach on certain things, like the look of the character. Robert Eggers is obviously quite strong visually in a lot of ways. He has some sequences that are pretty mesmerizing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, overall, I was pretty pleased with it.
Okay. Obviously, I watched Carry On, enjoyed it. I watched Booksmart, enjoyed it. Really enjoyed Good Boys.
Yeah,
I thought that was more to my taste. A little bit bawdier.
Yeah,
and the fact that it's 12-year-old kids who clearly have no fucking idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one point where I couldn't stop laughing where they were going to a kissing party.
Yep.
And they're explaining it to the two teenage girls. Yeah, those two girls that they're blackmailing for the drugs. And one of the kids turns to them and says, yeah, because they say, we need to know how to kiss, because we're going to a kissing party. One of the kids turns to them and goes, I mean, obviously I've had sex, but I've never kissed.
Yeah. I couldn't stop laughing when one of them started whipping out. He's like, I've got the nunchucks that they turn out to be fucking anal beads.
And he gives it to the girl later on. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, there was some good laughs.
I laughed my ass off in that.
Just they're taking the kids who are at an age where they've got no fucking idea.
Yeah.
And as you said, there's a couple of characters with bluster. There's one that's like, I don't want a part of any of this shit. And I was like,
Exactly. I thought it was quite funny.
Yep.
I also followed up with No Hard Feelings again.
Yes.
I watched that again.
Same
not as
people,
good.
wasn't it?
Yeah, same
From
people.
Good
Not
Boys?
as good the second time round. I really enjoyed it the first time. I still found it amusing, but it does taper. About halfway through, it stops sort of going for gags, and it kind of levels out into a more dramatic piece, which is perfectly fine. But I think it gets a lot of fucking mileage out of Jennifer Lawrence just acting like a fucking buffoon the whole time. And usually that's your male characters are usually the buffoonery in that type of stuff. So it was good to see the opposite. I then watched Plane, which was a Gerard Butler film. Oh, well, it was... It's exactly what you would expect from Gerard.
I can see the regret on your face.
Well, it's one of those ones where you just kind of like, yeah, I watched it.
Yeah.
It had a couple of moments where my heart rate spiked briefly.
Yep.
But I barely remember it.
Yep.
I then watched Don't Move.
Ah, yeah. I haven't watched that yet, but it looks interesting.
Interesting idea, but fuck me. How many times are you going to turn your back on a bloke you clearly know is not right? Like, fuck. There's a moment late in the film where I was just screaming.
Yeah.
That this guy's not right. Yeah. Don't turn your fucking back on him. Like, Jesus. Fuck.
Sounds like a fun experience.
Frustrating because it's a good enough idea. Something but it's very like frustrating.
Similar to what was the one with the car? Alone, was it?
Alone.
The car.
Yeah. Which had a good, coolish idea, but then just squandered it with all this crap. Speak No Evil, which is the remake of I believe it's a Danish film. That's another Blumhouse picture.
Yep.
Not that good.
McAvoy
is fucking fantastic. That bloke, like, I always knew he was a good actor. But just watching him as he balances this kind of like cool sort of charismatic guy who then slowly just slips into just this fucking asshole.
Yeah.
And then into a full-blown psychopath. And he does it so well. He's the best thing about the movie, and the movie would be very average if he wasn't in it. Like, if you had a lesser actor, I think you'd have been in strife.
Yep.
I watched the, I believe it's Norwegian disaster series La Palma, which was fucking awesome. Yeah.
SBS?
No, it was on Netflix.
Okay.
It was 4 episodes. It was the old classic, the island has a volcano on it. People are starting to see the signs that it might erupt. No one's listening. The mayor won't close the beaches, Jared, that sort of shit.
Yep.
And it fucking culminates in a really, really awesome kind of disaster ending, you know. So
cool.
Definitely worth it. I watched a supposed comedy called Reunion, which was like a murder mystery at a high school reunion, which I was hoping would be fucking a really good idea. Fails to deliver, unfortunately.
Okay.
And the last one, Jared, that I'm going to speak with a little bit more depth on with you is I watched Terminator Dark Fate.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to say I hated it. There were moments of excitement.
Yeah.
But it was soulless. Absolutely soulless. It felt like it had been written, produced, fucking acted by AI. It was just a cavalcade of overuse of CGI to the point where everything has to slow down. Do you notice that? Whenever there's a cool CGI sequence, we have to do it in slow motion so we can actually point out, look at how fucking awesome this is.
Yeah.
But it's not awesome.
No.
And then what happens is it blows when you've got a fast-moving action sequence and then you slow it down so we can see some shit, it just takes you out of the kind of like the adrenaline boost.
Yeah.
I liked the guy playing the Terminator.
Yeah.
Was it Diego Luna?
Yep.
He had all the right Terminator vibes for me. And I thought was it Mackenzie Grace? The other Terminator, the one that came back to help.
Oh, I can't remember.
Mackenzie something.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was cool to see Linda Hamilton.
Yes.
Again. But the idea of Arnie.
Oh, don't even get me started.
And what? Spoiler alert, Jared.
Yeah,
spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
The idea of that is kind of interesting.
Is it?
But to actually get to it and see it and find out he's making drapes.
Yeah.
It's just...
Mackenzie Davis,
sorry. And I was just like, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah, no, look, so the way that I'll put it is the idea wasn't interesting. The thought process to get there was interesting. Like asking, what would a Terminator do if it's mission accomplished? What do they do then?
Yes.
I didn't want the answer that they provided to us.
No, fuck no.
It was I hated it.
Ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But I also would have liked more between Sarah Connor and Arnie.
Yeah.
As a bit of a, imagine that. He killed your fucking son.
Yes.
He destroyed the face of, the universe was almost, the fucking world was almost destroyed by this guy. Yeah. Can you possibly go into battle with him?
I think it would have been more interesting to bring some of these ideas together with John Connor back, perhaps.
Yeah, that might have been interesting.
Like it would have been...
Not Eddie Furlong, obviously.
No, bring him back. Bring him back. Well,
get him off the gear at the very least.
You look at him and you say, this was the man that saved humanity. What happened to him? But I just think, I think, yeah,
just the delivery of what he'd been doing.
100% agree that, like, going down that path of what do they do after?
Is this a James Cameron idea?
I hope not. He's got better ideas.
No, I think it is because
it makes no sense.
Because my thinking, Jared, with the Terminator was you've just spent your whole fucking time, you have one singular purpose, to kill somebody.
Yes.
When it's done, I would have just thought there was a fucking self-destruct.
Yeah, or something
and
like
that. And
then
you just explode.
Make more sense.
You don't go and make drapes and then fall in love. Fuck me.
You can't fall in love.
No, but he said he wasn't in love. He just said he was a good listener.
You're a good listener and you can pretend. You can feign human emotions and you don't get the shits when the baby's crying.
And I understand that because that's kind of what they introduced in 2. Was that Arnie could learn.
Yes. But I get that.
But learn how to blow yourself up.
He had a purpose to learn the second time around. He'd been reprogrammed. He has still had purpose. This time I'm like, at what point? So if you're telling me that, oh yeah, I've got no emotion, I've got no attachment, I'm just pretty good at this, doesn't that also say, but you might just fucking wander off and not worry about the baby crying because there's no fucking attachment.
Yeah, well, there's no need for me to deal with this.
You're not going to stand there and cop abuse from a customer about the fucking quality of the drapes that you've just hung not being up to it.
For God's sake. I'll tell you when I really realised when it was kind of like soulless and kind of joyless, and I realised that it kind of had been cobbled together in a way that didn't have any heart, was the end of Terminator 2 when he tells John that there's one ship left and it's in here and I've got to die, basically.
Yeah.
It's emotional.
Yes.
Because John and they have built a relationship between a robot and a boy that somehow fucking grabs you by the balls.
Yeah.
This one, when Arnie sacrifices himself somewhat.
When Arnie says, I've got some drapes to hang. Yeah, see you later.
When he kind of sacrifices himself, it just like there was just nothing there. Nothing. Like I felt nothing.
No, yeah.
I was really fucking disappointed in it. I was just like, this is shit. And I was disappointed that James Cameron's involved. That he wasted so much time. He constantly said he did not want to borrow this shit anymore.
Yeah.
He was sick and tired of it.
Yeah, yeah. No,
and
he's got Avatar movies to make for the rest of time out of it.
Yeah, he told his story. The two Terminator films, the best two Terminator films, was James Cameron's story.
Yeah.
Then he fucking comes out of it for this. I mean, fuck, I would have thrown that script across the fucking room.
Was it just more of a John Carpenter ceremonial sort of?
I think, not according to what I read.
I think
there was a lot of fucking butting heads between him and the director.
Yeah, but I think some of it might have just been trumped up. Like, I don't know how much. I'd have to look into it, but I just feel like it just felt like, yeah, we'll get you back with some coin to have some input. And Cameron seems like the kind of guy, even if he is doing that, he's going to butt heads with someone.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I just think
yeah, he needed some money, or he's looking for money.
Yeah. And if that's the case, Jim, just say, yeah, I love the ideas to the media and fuck off.
Well, yeah, just
stop butting heads.
Put me on as an executive producer. Fucking, I'll tell the media it's good stuff.
Yeah.
And that's where we'll go.
I still can't get over him yelling in the book, the description of some of the best lines that he had when he was yelling at people in the Terminator 2. When he yelled at someone that said, you know, he said, what the fuck are you doing or whatever, and the guy said, I'm doing what you asked for. He said, don't give me what I asked for, give me what I want. James, stop it.
I'm not a mind reader, asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Give it a rest, James.
All right, but that was it for me.
Mm.
Yeah. I feel like, just to end this conversation about Terminator, I feel like it's time to put the Terminator to bed for a bit. I like the idea of the animated series. I think that's a good way to go.
Well, that's the way to go. I watched the start of that.
Let's take that over there.
Well, straight away it was set in Japan. It's just got a different aesthetic to it. It's like, yeah, cool. Have some new ideas.
Let's play with it in that realm for a bit. All right. Let's take a break. Here's the trailer for 1991's Toy Soldiers.
The Regis School for Boys, where the country's best families...
Hey, bring that back here!
...send the world's worst students.
If you're gonna kick me out, kick me out.
They'd make 4 prep schools in 4 years. You're trying for the Guinness Book of Records?
But these boys are in for a real shock.
If you do not produce my father unharmed, I will begin executing the hostages.
I'm sure by now you have discovered who their parents are.
Chairman of the Armed Services Committee, Vice Chairman of the Republican Party. What does your father do, William?
Contractor.
According to this, he owns the 3rd largest construction company in the world.
Yeah, he's a contractor.
My boys, many of them, they have a real problem with authority.
Are you with me or not?
Of course we need you.
But if you get a shot, we're gonna be PO'd.
In the staging area 5 minutes away.
I've seen these orange wires. These are wired to explosives.
The kid can get the other students out of line of fire.
If any one of these wires is cut, they will explode.
This kid has been kicked out of 2 schools.
3 schools.
No.
That's the detonator.
He's got guts. He's a leader. Billy says he can do it. I gotta believe he can.
That's the signal. Right. We're really gonna do this? You bet. Pilot, what are you?
Toy soldiers.
Toy Soldiers from 1991, directed by Daniel Petrie Jr., who directed In the Army Now with Paulie Shaw. Produced by Jack E. Friedman, who produced Body Parts. Patricia Hergoskovic, who produced Deadly Blessing. And Wayne S. Williams, who produced Mother's Boys.
I feel like you need to give Petrie some credit for writing more than directing.
Yes. He did write Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
Screenplays by Petrie Jr. and David Coeb, who wrote Stir of Echoes, and it's based on the novel by William P. Kennedy. It stars Sean Astin as Billy Tepper, Will Wheaton as Joey Trotter, Keith Coogan as Snuffy Bradbury, Andrew Divoff as Lewis Kelly, Ali Ermey as General Kramer, Denham Elliott as the headmaster, and Louis Gossett Jr. as Dean Parker. It cost $10 million to make and made $15 million at the box office. Composer Robert Falk said that he was told that the film editor of Toy Soldiers, Michael Kahn, who was most well known as Steven Spielberg's film editor, screened the film for Spielberg's composer John Williams, since Kahn apparently wanted Williams to score it.
Ooh.
Williams, however, was unavailable.
Interesting to say that. Very interesting, because I had a note that involves John Williams, so there you go.
I'm going to say it was more like this. Toy Soldiers, John? No.
Yeah, it was a short conversation. No, it was Toy Soldiers, John. Who's this? What did you say your name was? Sorry, tied up.
No, I'm tied up, mate. I've got other things on. All right, Jared. Now, this was a listener pick. Ben's a fan. So, what did you think?
I've got a very soft spot for this movie. Obviously watched it quite a bit. It was one of those ones that was just on the TV rotation in our sort of teen, or in my teen years.
Yes.
Your 30s
I was in my
40s?
20s, late 20s. Actually, let's go mid-20s.
Yeah, I still attach to the nostalgia of it. I still think it's quite good in a lot of aspects. I think the cast is reasonably strong overall, although some people might end up in spots that it's a little hard to sort of fathom them in. But all in all, I think the cast is reasonably strong. It's nothing that's out of the ordinary, but it manages to squeeze a little bit of drama and a little bit of excitement out of a couple of those sequences, the action-based sort of sequences. You're on board with the group. I think one of the strengths of it is they do a decent job putting together this group with some banter that feels well placed. It feels kind of
natural.
I don't know if natural's the word, but it does feel like realistic to a point.
I would agree.
Some of the sort of relationships and the banter that the kids are having and the things that they're doing, and Gossett Jr. Talk about great casting. If he was my principal, I'd be doing anything he said.
Totally agree there.
So I actually go for a 3.5, and I understand that there's probably a little bit of nostalgia attached to that one.
3.5. I went for a 3. I agree with you. I feel like it's very entertaining. Gets a few things right. It's very much from the Die Hard sort of school of rip-offs, but it does enough differently for mine that it's kind of it's a bit of an anomaly. It doesn't come to mind every time I think about these sort of ones, but then watching it, I was kind of like, this is kind of pretty well handled.
Yeah.
It's a bit slow at times, and the fucking bad guys make some head-scratchingly stupid decisions, but overall, entertained thoroughly.
Yeah.
And I think you're 100% correct about the cast. Like, it's a really good cast. And Gossett Jr., I am going to fucking talk your ear off about that bloke. That guy is so underrated.
Yeah.
So underrated. He is the fucking... He gets it. Like, you took Gossett out of there, you might have lost half a star on my end.
Yeah, quite possible.
But I enjoyed it. 3.5.
You replaced Gossett with, I don't know, Chuck Norris?
No. He'd lose a holster.
Well, he just fucking fly kicked the bloody terrorists and the movie's over.
Yeah. Andrew Divoff would have his fucking head stuck up his ass within about 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, straight into it for the likes. Great cast. I actually think it's a good mixture of young talent
Yep.
and fucking seasoned performers
Yes.
who are all pretty good
Very much
in
so.
the right positions.
Even the young guys that you don't necessarily, or that didn't necessarily go on to long careers or anything, they all do reasonably well. They all hold up. There's this vibe amongst the young.
There's a
group.
likability about the group too that I think is. They do a decent job building that.
Yes. Yep. Definitely.
But Gossett Jr. He's just fucking.
What more is there to say, Adam? What is there to say?
Well, I could continue to talk, and I will.
Yeah.
He's just super underrated. He never quite got the right roles. He worked steadily.
Yeah.
And he always delivered.
Yep.
And he's fucking awesome here.
Yeah, he is.
He's really, really awesome. And my other piece of kudos is to Andrew Divoff. I actually think he's one of the better villains that we've had over the years in these type of terrorism type of films.
And, it's a time when he's thrown into a role of an ethnicity that is not necessarily fitting.
No.
But there was times when that was obvious.
Yes. But there are other times when
it wasn't really obvious. And I think he does a pretty reasonable job.
And he brings enough menace to shit.
Yeah.
Like after a while you don't it's just about is this guy menacing?
Yes, and he has a couple of villain moves that I'll chat about when we get sort of further into just the specifics in the movie. There's a couple of villain moves where you're like, yeah, it's a very, very light Hans Gruber-ish type of
touch.
Man in control of it, that sort of thing. So yeah.
The opening scene's quite good. Quick setup. We get a sense of what these guys are after.
Mm-hmm.
And we basically show they're pretty ruthless.
Yeah.
And we also show they're on their way to the States. You know, they're on their way. So within a couple of minutes, we kind of get the simple shit to know where these villains are at. Happy with that. Just give us enough. Because you know what? Their reasoning could be as murky as far as I'm concerned. As long as I know, okay, they're here to take something or they're here to fucking get something.
Yeah, it was very straightforward. And it's pretty much all we needed because that's not the important thing. Like it's
no
for the sort of B grade actioner. All you need to do is get the group of boys, establish their relationships, and put them in a situation that's going to challenge them, which they do pretty well. And I mean, out of all the things in the wake of Die Hard, it's kind of like what you said, but Die Hard in a school wouldn't have been something that I would have been assuming would end up one of my sort of favourites out of those.
Agreed. And I think part of it is because they do go slightly off the Die Hard track because you could have had it Sean Astin is cut off from everyone else.
Yeah.
But they wisely don't go there.
No, I think it's better that they keep them all together.
As much as there's some contrivances as to why that happens.
Yes.
But in the end, having the crew meant you had these guys with specific skills who could do something for each other.
Yeah.
It wasn't just that Sean Astin was an idiot who bucked authority and then suddenly he's put in a position where he has to be a hero.
Yeah. You know who didn't feel the same there? Roger Ebert. 1 out of 4.
He fucking hated it.
Roger fucking hated it.
It's like, Jesus, loosen your fucking sphincter muscle, mate. Good God.
But
and you gave Roger you gave Code of Silence 3.5.
Yeah.
So I rest my case.
Exactly. Even the best get it very wrong sometimes.
They also quickly established the reason why they're after the school, why they're going to be at the school, because that's where the kid is.
Yes.
That's where they're the person they want.
Yep.
Is.
And the reason for pivoting when they find out that he's not there anymore.
Cool.
Yeah.
Dug it.
It's fine. It's
Loved
like,
it.
okay, well, we don't have him, but we've got
a shitload of others we can hold.
Some very high profile, very powerful people.
And strangely enough, Jared, although I didn't feel like it fully connected, I kind of dug the mob element.
Yeah, I did too.
You could clearly see the Divoff's shit in his fucking pants.
Yeah, yeah.
On.
Well, it's kind of silly, but they keep it to a minimum. We don't see a lot of the mob. We just see one conversation really, and then that kind of filters down. And I think the result of the mob kind of taking their revenge,
is cool.
Which then puts the kids in further danger, is a nifty little sort of tweak.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually liked how that ended up. Although it was, it did feel a little goofy when the.
I really like the back and forth between Sean Astin and Louis Gossett when he catches him downstairs and then he follows him back up to get all the mouthwash bottles and then they have a conversation in the office.
Yep.
It's good. It's natural. You feel the Gossett's I'm in charge sort of fucking angle, but also I kind of have a soft spot for this kid.
Yeah. What about just prior when it's lights out time? We hear lights out, boys. Eat shit, Mr. Peterson. Talking about some grade A sort of setting the scene.
Fucking got him. Sick bird.
Yeah. But no, it was I agree. I actually liked the handling of Gossett and Denholm Elliott, even though he has less to do. I liked the handling of them in general because it painted them as fucking people.
Yes, yes.
Like they had they had their responsibilities, and Gossett actually in that sequence looks like exactly as you said. He looks like the authority figure, but someone who cares. He kind of
and it could have been in the wrong hands. It could have been the authoritarian figure and nothing else. And no shades, no angles, nothing.
No. And I think one of the I'll come to that shortly.
And what Gossett brings is this kind of light touch. Even it's just a couple of moments where he hides a smile.
Yeah.
When he sends him off to get the rest of the fucking mouthwash.
Yes.
He just kind of, as he walks off, he's just kind of
I thought he was
smiles
going to fucking take a swig myself.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Yeah. No, I think he's very good. It starts there quite good. I think there's a few moments, I'll go through a few of them, but I think there's a few moments in that first half hour that show that it's time well spent to get the relationships with the group and the relationship with Gossett sorted. So
absolutely.
I think the mouthwash idea is fun. And some of the banter between the boys when they're fucking heading down to get onto the sex line is...
I've got some concerns about the sex line, to be honest.
Just a couple.
Come on, fellas.
I think when they're walking in there and they're kind of...
some of that's cool.
Yeah, they're talking about, you fucking...
Who chokes the chicken.
Chokes the chicken, talking about, fall asleep before you fucking jerk off and all this sort of thing. And
rule number one, that's shit. Rule number one is that you actually wait till they fall asleep before you start jerking off.
Yeah, I think there was another one too when they were talking about each other's sisters and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then someone's mother comes up and he goes, "Hey, I love my mother. And you can too for $12. I was just like, I thought, it's a bit crude, but it's kind of funny. And it's the sort of shit that you can imagine kids that age.
These guys are like 16.
Back and forth. Yeah.
Okay, so I dug on that. But it's also the actors bring a little bit of, again, they're not really more than two dimensions, most of these characters.
No, not really.
But they do it enough to give it a bit of life.
That's the thing. The friendships and the character that they kind of give them in the small moments works well enough to carry it and give it some, we care for what's going to happen to them.
Yeah.
I also think Gossett's reaction when he picks up the call to the sex line.
Yeah.
He kind of just raises the brows. Yeah, you get what you pay for there.
And I must admit, I love the fact that we get that small bit where he's like, Mr. Tepper sold you a bottle of vodka. You have 3 seconds. 3, 2, and then
just comes out the door. And then 2 guys before that when he's like, if you produce it in the next 5 seconds, you won't get in trouble. And then one of them does exactly the same thing, just kind of whips out with the bottle.
Yeah. Good night, he says.
Yeah.
I like that.
Good stuff.
Look,
good stuff.
Although this bit is 100% ripped off from Die Hard, the police car trying to come in and then they strafe the shit out of it and then rocket launcher it. It's still cool though. It's still brings a nice little touch of explosiveness to things at the right time. We've finally sort of taken over.
I actually mentioned that the guy that does that sort of brings a touch of Dwayne T. Robinson into things where he's just basically telling everyone, oh, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And then he kind of rolls in and, comes out with his tail between his legs.
Yeah,
I was hoping they would keep him around to get a bit more of that. I actually can't believe...
He didn't get a chance to fucking tell us, he could be a fucking bartender.
No. I can't believe you've passed over the emptying of the office into the quad.
Oh, that was pretty funny.
One of the great pranks. I mean, it's far better than fucking rats in beers and things like that.
Yeah, that was cool. But you know what I also liked about that? Is the way that Gossett and Denham Elliott kind of handle it.
Well,
it's like instead of blowing up Deluxe, you can clearly see that they kind of find it fucking amusing.
Well, he actually, the way that he says, try not to laugh.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm trying.
That's things that any teacher has come across.
Yeah.
A situation like that where some kid's done something that's wrong, but you see what it is and you're kind of like, oh, fuck.
So I like that. I think that whole sequence in general was kind of cool.
Yes.
And I like the fact that, once again, it sort of sets the tone with Sean Astin's character that he just got in the shit, but he's got to return serve. He just can't help himself.
Pick up that banana. Classic.
Yeah.
Apparently that was Astin.
He was improvising with the banana.
Yeah, he just fucking had it. So then Gossett had to improvise.
Yeah, that's right. I like that.
Yeah.
The sequence involving Austin trying to get out of the actual grounds before the count and deliver the information to the police, and all his buddies use their little tricks to get him out. It's a cool scene.
Yeah. Again, some contrivance, but it's one of my favourite parts of the movie.
But it builds some tension, it builds some suspense.
Well, it keeps
getting
picking
back
up
in.
Because the suspense initially is he gonna get out? He gets out. And then it's like, cool, he's got the information, but then the FBI is like, no, you're not going anywhere. So then the clock's ticking.
Yeah.
Like, I like
then
the way it just kind of keeps
in the
drawing
sewer,
it out.
So he's got to fucking come up with a reason why he comes back late. Again, there's a huge dislike to this, but I did find it pretty tense.
Yeah.
And I did kind of like how Divoff takes him away and then just fucking basically gives him fucking X number of lashes with a fucking, so he hurts him, but in a really kind of cruel way. I kind of thought that was a cool way to kind of bring that up.
Yeah.
To show that he was a bit of a nasty bastard.
Yep.
Spoilers, but the death of his mate.
Will Wheaton?
Yes. It actually has a bit of weight.
Yeah.
Because they've done enough to build those characters and make it known that, Austin and Wheaton are close.
Yeah.
The way he kind of tries to get out, trying to kind of escape, essentially.
Yeah.
And then fucking Gossett Jr. just nails it when he comes to pick him up.
Yeah.
It's, you can just see it. It's written all over his face that he's fucking upset.
And he, Divoff's saying, make sure you tell them this was an accident. And he's like, well, none of it would have happened if you hadn't have been here in the first place. And kind of, that back and forth between both of them is pretty good. Yeah, I'm just pulling back a little bit. I actually think it was immediately killing the teacher when they fucking first get there.
Yeah.
Although they've gunned down the security guard. That one kind of felt throwaway.
Yeah.
But then immediately killing the teacher that was in the midst of the boys.
Yep.
Sort of takes this to like, oh, fuck, okay. So we're serious here. Like the threat is real. Straight away, which is cool. I mean, fuck, we see the threat is real 10 seconds after that when they're lugging a fucking gigantic gun up the stairs and fucking putting up turrets and shit.
Yeah. It's getting pretty fucking real.
But yeah, I thought that was a pretty good touch. Also, the other part that I think Divoff might be one of his best moments is when he says to the guy, you speak Spanish? And the kid says no.
And then it says, put a bullet in him.
Put a bullet in him. And the kid's like, hey. He's like,
hang on, you didn't speak Spanish.
Like, that was a good little villain move that kind of,
I like that.
The kid's trying to get one over on him, but he shows I got a bit of smarts about me too. Like,
really like that, yeah. And he says something about don't fuck with... No, he tells Sean Austin, doesn't he? Don't fuck with me.
Yep.
And there's enough menace there, even though it's just he doesn't do anything to him. He doesn't hit him or he doesn't, he just tells him, don't you fuck with me.
Yeah, I had flashes of Wishmaster, and I thought to myself, don't tell him to go fuck himself.
Because you will be fucking yourself. Jesus Christ. Okay, I dug changing out the receiver.
Yep.
On the actual bomb, not on the thing on his arm. Because they initially keep pointing out the thing on his arm.
Yeah.
And saying, how the fuck are we going to do that? Like, they keep bringing it up. And then they go for the actual bomb itself. And change it out. I thought that was a cool move. Another kind of cheeky move involving the kids and their skills. It's simple, but it kind of works.
No, it's good.
Under this sort of circumstance.
Yep.
Mate, I was fucking punching the air too, Jared, when Gossett Jr. decides he's not sitting on the sidelines any longer. He's going in.
He's going in. Wading through the shit in this sewer, and I'm getting in there. I was like,
yes, we need Gossett Jr. on deck. Like, we need him there.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have worked. If Gossett Jr. just sat outside, it wouldn't have been as exciting and entertaining because you needed to bring him into the mix.
The strength was him and his interactions with people like Sean Astin.
Yeah,
so if you take him out of that for too long.
And the idea that I care about you.
Yes.
This is, I'm risking my life to come back for you.
I'm risking my life for you, little shit.
Yeah. Now you're fucking expelled.
I only came back in here to expel the fucking lot of you.
Yeah. And the finale is actually really good. When they take control.
Yeah. It's pretty quick too.
Yeah, and things start to go awry for the bad guys.
Yeah.
And you've got fucking helicopters flying over and shit getting blown up.
It goes quick, yeah.
Aston has a blue in the toilet with the one of the guys, and they get the gun off him and everything.
Yeah. Well, that was cool. I like that one. Like, keep the water running. That's our signal to come back down.
Yeah.
And it's the bad guy that's fucking washing his hands when they start dropping in. Like,
I like that. And he's like, that went pretty well. And then fucking turns around, there's the guy.
Yeah, good stuff.
I had to giggle when we see Denham Elliott. He's just sitting there, in the midst of the shit, and he's got a fucking little cup, and they're pouring him some mouthwash, and he's there going, he slugs back a shot, and he's like,
I like that.
God.
That was good.
That was
good fun.
It was just cool to see him kind of lighten up a touch in there.
Yeah.
And the last bit is Gossett Jr. coming through the window.
Yep.
Just sort of save the day, so to speak.
Yes. And Divoff really cops it. They're right in the scone.
It looks fucking terrible. It looks terrible.
Does it look like a basketball, like in Happy Birthday to Me?
Basically, we've had a couple of bad special effects days, and this is not one of the good ones either.
Yeah.
Have you got anything else, Jared?
No, that was all for the likes.
Okay. Dislikes. Look, ring and sex lines is another one of these ones that I don't understand. It's like flashes. It seems kind of useless.
Yeah. But also doing it as a group. They're like rubbing their hands together and looking at each other.
Yeah, it's like, this seems wrong.
Yeah.
And the African-American guy, his reactions, somewhat creepy. He's fucking there going, ooh, yeah. Fucking Jesus. I was kind of like, you need to calm down. You need to calm down.
Yeah.
Okay?
No,
take it easy.
It wasn't their strongest point.
No.
Also, the one thing that I do agree with Roger Ebert, very much wasn't fucking Chekhov's phone receiver, was it?
Because they didn't use it.
Well, he showed the skills to do it, but then it's like, if you can do that, then you don't need to fucking race off campus.
Yeah, you just need to ring out.
So I think maybe they should have keep the mouthwash. That part's great.
No, but he broke it, didn't he?
He broke it, but it shows that he's got the skills to do this.
Yeah, but he uses none of those skills. And they keep falling back on the young kid.
Which makes it funny again. Yeah, this is another one. Why does he have to go to Yogurt for the radio? Like, obviously that's something that he could probably understand, given that he could fucking rig up a phone system and like.
But if it doesn't involve,
I found that a little funny,
Jared. If it doesn't involve jerking off, he's not going to use
interested.
it.
Not interested. Unless you can attach that remote control, unless you can attach a stick mag to the bottom of that remote control plane and I can fly it back in here, I don't want to know about it.
Exactly.
Basically.
If it can fly back into the sounds of, oh yeah, I'm getting my clothes off now. I just can't understand that shit. I just can't. And it costs a fucking arm and a leg.
Yeah.
To actually beat yourself off cost you about $50.
Once you get into those prices, well, you just fucking going, I don't know.
That is an immediate, I'm no longer horny.
Exactly. I was enjoying this until my bank account just fucking cut off.
Until it said you've got no more money here.
Zero, dear.
All right. Okay, Jared. This is what I was going to talk to you about. If there's one way to kind of destroy action hero cred, Jared, it's constantly cutting back to you guys in your room in your fucking underpants.
Yeah. Especially when they're wife fronts.
Exactly.
Who was it? Was it Stuffy or whatever his name is?
It's like there's three of them standing around in there.
I think Aston was in the red Rios or something like that.
I'm like, talk about ruining your credibility. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, if someone said to me, listen, we're going to put you in this room in your underpants, and then when next thing you know, you'll be fucking shooting
everyone. Can I wear
everyone.
a pair of footy shorts or something?
Like, boxers.
Yeah,
even
like
a pair of boxers.
Yeah.
It's not a good look. It's not good. And poor old Stuffy looks fucking...
It's a bit stuffy, all right.
He looks fucking he doesn't look like an action hero's asshole. Oh, dear.
I actually, it's funny that you mentioned John Williams earlier because
okay.
I wrote down the score kept kind of catching me off guard because there was these ones that, especially the first one.
Did it feel like adventure?
Well, it sounded like a fucking wistful John Williams kind of. One of them sounded like Superman, like a touch of Indiana Jones, and I was just like, is that where we're at?
No.
Like that one was coming in when they were just coming into the school and the soccer team's running through the gate. I think it was a soccer team. They looked like they were, maybe it was just PE class, but it just didn't seem to fit. And a few times there it would come in and it was just like ill-fitting. It would feel a little bit too grand for the scenarios or like.
But it also felt like an adventure type of score, not an action score. Like it should have been kind of a little bit more sort of lower register and give us a little more of that kind of like that feeling of like suspense and tension.
I think so.
It didn't do that. It seemed to keep going for like, let's go high.
I mean, there was one point it sounded like the fucking police academy theme. Just a hint off the. I was like, this isn't fitting.
This is not the way to do it.
I was expecting competent Lassard to fucking stroll in and fall out of a car or something.
Oh, God. You fucking hell. We might have to do a deep dive on those movies. They're shocking, if I remember correctly. Now, I had to laugh when the terrorists arrive. They start cutting the phone and power lines, I think.
Yes.
And at one stage, the bloke, he opens the power box and there's like on the tape to the inside of it is like I guess some specs.
Schematics
of
or
what
something.
to do. And then we just cut to them chopping the fucking wires on these giant fucking boxes. And I'm like, any idiot could have done that.
I thought he was just going to take the gun and go.
Like, it's not, like you didn't need to look at the schematics, you idiot.
No.
I had to laugh. It was classic action sort of stuff. You know?
I think I said to you, Adam, like, it seems like Divov's the only one that's really prepared for the situation.
Some of these guys are
Everyone else is just wandering around.
One guy's eating a sandwich full of spit. Fuck. And that loogie is big. That loogie's big too. You would have known.
You would have noticed for sure. Yeah. Not a good prank. If I find out your prank is spitting in my food, I'm not fucking talking to you ever again.
Fucking knocked out.
Yeah. The other thing is too, there was a couple of moments that it's just like, so one of them, when they keep referring to the rejects, I'm like, Is that the best nickname they could come up with him for themselves? Like, a word that very much describes exactly what they're talking about. They've all been they've all been expelled from other schools. Like, just workshop the name just a touch more.
Yeah.
If we're going to be talking about and spraying it on cars and things like that.
Yeah.
The stretch where they put the information together, although it does have some good parts, I think that's one of the parts where it starts to slow down a little bit.
It really slows down there. Like, it becomes almost kind of sedentary for a little bit. But I don't know why the pacing. Look, she's long. She's at 1 hour 50.
Yeah,
which is pretty long for an action movie.
Do you montage? You just montage that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just montage.
Fucking speak to Sylvester Stallone.
And then background.
He puts a montage together and
while you're sitting there going, how many people were in here when you delivered lunch? Will Wheaton doing a few sketches.
Yeah.
Like,
perfect.
Yeah.
Montage, 2-minute montage. Gets you that?
Yeah, probably.
To the sounds of There's No Easy Way Out. By Robert Tepper. Because there is no easy way out.
I mean, there
is no way out.
Big fans of just out and out explaining everything.
Also, there's a sequence, and I don't mean to bring this up, but Sean Austin's character's a fucking pig. he's in the kitchen doing pots and pans.
Yeah.
And he's
with his hands,
scooping out fucking leftover slop with his hands and bitching about how it's there. He then proceeds to fucking grab like a hand towel, covered in his hands covered in slop, wipe them off, then wipe his fucking brow and his arms. Sean. And I was like, you fucking disgusting
You have
pig.
slop in your eyebrows, mate. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. Not good. He wasn't good at that job.
He wasn't.
Good at the pots and pans.
He was not. His pots and pans work was shit out. Now, this is where one of the ideas, obviously this is specifically for plot device, but if you were going to take hostages at a school, prep school that big, you are not giving them fucking time in the quad, are you? You are basically locking them in the gym.
These Colombian terrorists are not good at duty either.
No.
They're fucking wandering past people that are scribbling down maps and things like that. You know, letting people just break windows and piss off. And they're fucking sitting there looking around like, what are you doing?
They're easily fucking led, these guys.
Yeah.
But it's for a plot purpose, of course.
Yes.
But it strains
Definitely
credibility.
Works
it just
better for the plot, but it does stretch it a little.
Because why would you give them like every hour on the hour?
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck would you do that?
I get their head counts on the hour. Like that, in terms of what we needed, works pretty well for the screen.
In terms of also building a little bit of suspense at one point, it works well.
I'll tell you how to avoid that, Andrew. Lock them in the gym, nobody moves.
Yeah.
Tie them up. Something like that.
Everything.
Then you can do a head count, every fucking 3 hours. And, if you've got your people just sitting in the gym at the exits, they're not going anywhere.
Clearly your fucking boys aren't up to this. So you need to take the best possible options you can.
I felt like they were going to move it. They were going to go to that at some point. Like they started with Divoff basically telling everyone, you're not going to find any trouble if you don't give me any. You're out in the quad and whatever. Keeping the population happy, Adam. But after he starts to suspect or after Aston's late, I thought maybe they go to, well, now
everyone's
the
in the
situation changes.
Yeah, that would have worked.
As a further complication somehow.
And I'm going to say this. Imagine being held hostage by bloodthirsty terrorists and having to sit and listen to Denham Elliott talk fucking bullshit for an hour before we go in for a head count, then come back out and lison to his shit again.
Yeah, look, school's out.
Yeah, school's out, McCulloch. Get the fuck out of my face. I would ask them to kill me or kill him. I'd be like,
at this period of time, Adam, I think the perfect response to, year 9 boys or whatever meet me out here would have been up yours with a twirling lawnmower. Like, you're out.
Yeah. No worries, mate. We'll meet you there. That would have been the fucking response. Yeah, it's just that stuff is fucked. Like there's no need for any of that.
Well, I think it just what I got from it, and again, this is where I got another thing that you spoke about.
Was it for normalities? Yeah, they were trying to keep things kind of normal. Keep people.
I think it was just trying to keep things normal, try to still show that they cared for these kids. And I think it's probably not a dislike, but could they have switched Gossett for Denham Elliott earlier? At the point perhaps where he says, let him go, take me.
Yes.
They maybe because I think Gossett being out there, I mean, could it not have been Denham Elliott that gives the info? Gossett gets back in and Denham Elliott's the one saying, yeah, that's the boy or whatever.
Yes.
I mean, it does work better for Gossett to be delivering that and talking about because he's the one that, was busting.
And it brings Gossett back heroically at the end.
Correct. But I think you probably could have got him in a touch earlier and still achieved that.
I think so. And he could have been butting heads with Divoff. That would have been kind of cool.
Well, you could have got a bit of that. You could have still got a bit more with him.
But again,
and Sean
you're also
Astin
ramping up the I care about you.
Well, it shows he's on the outside and tells him that little bit about, he's got to trust him or whatever. Get a bit of that on the inside too. Get a bit of Aston having to go to him for something.
Yeah.
And him telling him, I've fucking always thought you were a leader or something.
Yeah.
I'll trust you on this one or something like. I think you could have got maybe one or two. Just squeezed a little bit more juice out of that.
I think so, and you could have got a little bit more out of Lewis. You could have got
That's
more.
Exactly what you needed.
You did. You did in my book. I'm not going to say they're the strangest fucking terrorists I've ever seen because they do the head count and Aston is late. They do the count 91, and instead of just fucking quickly executing 5 of them. Like, in my opinion, you fuck up one head count, 5 people immediately shot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even care if we got it wrong. Like, if we miscount, it doesn't matter. We shoot fucking 5 of you.
Whoops.
But it would have just showcased that fucking ruthless streak,
Yeah. I actually think it should have been.
And it would have actually, Ashton comes back late, realises
should have
fucking
been him
some of these guys
bursting
have
in
been
the door
shot.
as they're going 90, 91, boom, he comes in or something. Because I think, as you said, it undermines them a little.
Because then they go like this. They go 91, and he goes, count them again.
Count them again.
Like, what
Doesn't
the
he do
fuck?
it twice?
Yeah. No, don't count them again. We counted.
Yeah.
We
But
killed
Adam,
them.
in Divoff's favour, I looked at some of those guys and their work demonstrated sort of abilities.
Yeah. What
Count 'em
year
again.
level of mathematics have
You
you
take
done?
it out, you come in.
Yeah.
Because a couple of his finer henchmen, I'm going a bit further down the track, but how did the 2 bell ends in the fucking bell tower not know something was amiss when they get gunned down by the chopper? By that point, there's already been 1 chopper on the scene gunning someone else down, and these 2 peanuts are standing there just looking at something.
But also, the jig is up. I'm coming out of the fucking bell tower immediately.
But it's like I don't know whether it's editing, but when you see them and all the shit's already going down and the chopper pops up behind them, the 2 of them are literally just standing there. And then they turn around and go, oh, and pull the guns out. It's like, fellas.
Too late to the party,
was
boys.
Gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of the henchmen really demonstrated to me that they were high level. There was no.
And I understand why. I understand Divoff's thinking, this fucking prick didn't get out of the 6th grade.
There was no
He wouldn't have
Carls.
been able to
There was
count.
no Mr. Joshua.
Exactly.
No one in that crew fit the bill.
There was no second-tier henchman that you could count upon.
No Al Leong anywhere to be seen.
No, exactly. It seems a bit strange that Gossett Jr. knows where the storm drain is.
Yeah. And
So why wouldn't he have told
they
the
keep
fucking...
getting out of it.
Oh, by the way, everyone continues to fucking leave. 3/4 of the school has currently left through the storm drain.
Lewis, how many times?
But
How
also,
many times?
But also, it's like, wouldn't he have told the police or the military, and the fucking Navy SEALs would have gone through there immediately.
Yeah.
Like it's
wouldn't you have told maintenance, lock that shit up?
Yeah,
It's happening daily.
Fucking hell. Close that thing right up. But it just seemed weird that Gossett Jr. knows all about that, but it's only brought up later once Aston has actually escaped, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's like,
yep.
well, Gossett Jr. knows there's an entry point over here. There's the military's dropping a fucking Navy SEAL unit down there to deal with these fucksticks. They're on the grounds without these guys even knowing it.
Yeah, of course. But, they did have the old mate at the top telling him you got to hold.
No, but he also had, you did also have Ali
deals.
Ermy saying, I'm only authorised to do this, this and this. And none of it
Yes,
involved
they had that
putting
at the
someone
start.
on the ground.
But yeah, they also had, even when he starts sniffing around that, when Gossett's telling him what's going on, you've got him saying, no, I've been authorised to fucking...
You've been told to
to
hold.
cut a deal.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So they do try to explain it, but yeah, I'm more concerned about the students just being fucking on and off campus whenever they feel like it, Lewis. Surely that's a problem.
You need to do something about the storm drain.
Do something better. Concrete the fucking thing over. Let's get
fucking get rid of it.
Drain somewhere else.
Wherever it is, get fucking rid of it. And the last one for me, the squib on Divoff's head, it looks like a packet of cigarettes. It's stuck to the fucking side of his head. And you just see it go off, but it's like this big, so it's sticking out that fucking far. It's about 1.5 inches off his forehead.
Yeah.
And it looks just shocking.
It's a bit like when I watched El Mariachi and Robert Rodriguez was like, if you watch this shot here closely, our squibs were just condoms full of blood. And this one kind of just burst but then hung out his shirt. So if you look close enough, you can just see a dinger hanging out the shirt. It's a bit like that.
Yeah. A touch.
Not quite as bad.
A touch. You can't have you probably wouldn't even be able to do it that well today. Because whenever you're using prosthetics to build up someone's face, it looks weird.
It does.
Because it looks like bigger.
When it looks like your head's swollen, it's a bit hard to get.
Like a fucking basketball.
to get
Happy
away
birthday
with
to me style, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think it was passable, but
it just looked fucking ridiculous when it happened. Because they kind of linger on it too long too.
And it looked like it had kind of the skin tone sort of thing, like it looked like a different skin than what we'd seen him with before.
And edit around that.
Yeah. Don't just put it.
When you see that, you go, no.
Well, it's kind of
best to cut.
I like the shot, but then when you focus on that part of it, it's like, ooh,
done well.
Bringing things down just a little bit.
That was it for me. What you got? Anything else?
No, that was it. I think we've discussed it all.
A very good choice, Ben. Very good choice. Like, it was really good to revisit this.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen it in years and years and years. So it was really good to see. And thankfully stacked up all right.
Yeah, I was very happy with
right.
it. Might have to sniff around a special edition Blu-ray or something like that. If there's one out there with some features.
Is there one out there, do you think?
I don't know. I'll be following up on that.
I feel like it's got enough
surely Keno Lorber will get... fuck, they did needful things, mate.
I know. But that had a 3-hour cut.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah.
All right, that was Toy Soldiers. You can find us on Podomatic, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. We're on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com, and on Instagram at thrillmepodcast.au. Keep an eye on the Facebook page to see what we cover next, but until then, take it easy, everyone, and we'll catch you all later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.